Strength, though, it helps with your
It
looks
looks like a hard workout. I'm
Yeah.
curious if you burn more calories doing that than actually surfing. You know?
Yeah, and you know what? Surfers say that it makes them. There's some pro surfers who actually go in there, and they say it makes them better when they're out in the water too.
Interesting.
Good morning, Zohreen. How are
Hi,
you?
guys. Hey. Wait, so we're talking about an iconic image. You guys have for sure seen it before.
Oh, yeah.
The woman in this image has passed away over this weekend. Now, this photo is from the end of World War II. It's of a woman being kissed by a sailor taken in Times Square in 1945.
And for decades, we had no idea who this woman was.
Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah.
Why she wouldn't want to be known. I mean, it was on the cover of Life magazine, and you can see it right here. Greta Friedman was the name of the woman in this black and white photo. She was in Times Square when the word of the Japanese surrendering was announced on a billboard. She says she suddenly was grabbed by a sailor, and she indicated it wasn't really that romantic. The sailor was just really happy he wouldn't have to go back. She passed away at 92 years old in Richmond, Virginia. I was really hoping there was a romantic story behind it. I remember the first time I saw it, I'm thinking, okay, maybe they got married or something. But
Yeah.
no, not as
Although
romantic
I think
as
the
we thought.
picture itself is all the much more iconic because they were complete strangers.
Right. Yeah, and the
They
moment
didn't know
was
each
so
other.
great.
Yeah.
They just grabbed each other.
It really captured the exuberance of the nation at Japan surrendering during World War
Yeah,
II.
absolutely. Okay, so there's another story too. What do you guys do when you're in college and you need your parents to send you money? Well, one guy took an approach I haven't seen before. Right before Saturday's football game between Virginia Tech and the University of Tennessee, he did this. He held up a sign while tailgating. The sign said, "Hi, Mom. Send beer money." And then he included his Venmo account name. So that's the app where you can link to your bank account and then message anyone money. According to Venmo, you're not going to believe this, over 2,000 people paid this guy. Who are these people? Did his mom pay him? We have no idea if his mom was actually one of those people. But does it matter? It doesn't matter.
It's actually amazing how if you just ask people for money, a lot of them will give it to you.
All right, so should I right now?
Don't try it.
So one of the reasons why this photo really took off is ESPN. They grabbed a frame of it on one of their channels when they were broadcasting the tailgate.
But we don't know how much money he got out of it.
Don't know how much money.
But let's
look
think
into that.
about it. If you have 2,000 people, if they just sent $1 each.
That's a lot of beer money.
Yeah, it is.
All right, Zohreen, thank you.
Thank you, Zohreen.
All right, that day in America, of course, is a day we won't forget. We were on the air here. There was a lot of confusion. I said what was happening was terrible, but what we didn't know was happening was terrifying because we just didn't know. The man with the president had a lot to say.
Yeah, and we're finding out more and more about exactly in detail what happened minute by minute. So Ari Fleischer, former White House secretary, he was one of the few people with George W. Bush when he got the news about the planes in the elementary school classroom. And then when for hours they were the only plane in the sky. So yesterday, Fleischer tweeted about 200 times explaining in detail what happened. He says he started doing this 4 years ago, and once he started, he couldn't stop. So here's one of the tweets. He tweets how Karl Rove basically told the president about the first plane, and then he got this message. You see this photo right here? He says, "Brian Bravo once again pages me that another plane hit the World Trade Center. Here's a photo of me getting that page." Now, many tweets later, Fleischer says this. He says, "I'm not sure who else was in POTUS's cabin, but he turned to us and said, 'That's what we're paid for, boys. We're going to take care of this.'" He sends out quite a few photos, including this one. Fleischer says he gave everyone on board a Cipro to protect us from an anthrax attack. And then at 2:58, he tweets, "Bush says to the head of the USSS detail, we need to get back to Washington. We don't need some tin horn terrorist to scare us off." Now, what's so remarkable is that he tweets in real time. So what he says around 6:45, Air Force One touchdown at Andrews, it was actually 6:45 yesterday. So it really makes you relive this entire day, minute by minute, with him, 15 years ago.
It is fascinating. And to think, back then when this happened, we did not have Twitter. We did not have the social media capability. So can you imagine covering that event?
I do. I can.
In that way.
I can. We were on the air here, and we saw, as we're on, buildings are falling. We don't know at this point, as I said, what we knew was terrible. What we didn't know was terrifying. Whether 100 planes, whether 10 planes, whether plots in other places. While we're focusing here, was something going to happen there? We just didn't know at that point.
But now throw in the social media aspect. What I'm saying is the information coming in, it would have almost made it
overwhelming, more scary.
And
more complicated,
you'd
misinformation.
also have to question the information that comes
the
in.
tricky
It makes you
part,
wonder, today, would the White House press secretary be tweeting? Would we be getting real-time information? They actually mentioned there was an article in Politico, it's called Only Play in the Sky, and has in detail Fleischer's accounts and then many other people's accounts, just line by line, minute by minute. And they were saying how they were flying over certain parts of the country and they didn't have TV service, because if they were in a not a big market.
Right.
And don't forget, there was the moment with the president, with the school kids, with the book.
Reading the book.
Sitting there all that time, which people have made a big thing out of. If there were social media then, it would have been different because people would have been all over it.
Yeah, exactly. It is fascinating, though. Thank you, Zohreen.
15 years ago, I realized it's another time.
It really is.
It really is another time. Everything has changed. Not just the event, how we live, how we communicate.
How we communicate.
You heard him
tell
say
the stories.
pagers.
Yeah.
Right, I saw you paused when you said that. It is quite funny to hear. 7:16.
At a moment like that.
So another iconic picture.
Yeah, we've been talking about a lot of these.
Yeah.
So
this one I have a copy of, actually.
Do you really?
Framed at my house.
Interesting. Okay, so this woman in this photo has passed away. One of the most iconic photos. Greta Friedman is her name. That probably doesn't ring a bell, but you'll recognize her as soon as you see her in this photo. Take a look. This photo is from the end of World War II, 1945. It's a Friedman being kissed by a sailor in Times Square. She was in Times Square when word of the Japanese surrendering was announced on a billboard. She says suddenly she was grabbed by a sailor. She indicated that it wasn't really that romantic, which is interesting because I always thought they maybe ended up together or they were...
Me too. I had a whole story going
right,
in my
maybe
head.
they got married. Well, the sailor was just really happy he wouldn't have to go back. But Greta Friedman passed away 92 years old in Richmond, Virginia. And I just had a Facebook Live video with a lot of our followers. And this is actually Greta Friedman more recent years. And our followers were asking, what happened to the guy in the photo? Okay, so I was looking this up online. First of all, there's a lot of conflicting reports on who the guy still is. There's two different names that keep on popping up. One of them, his name is Glenn McDuffie. He died 2 years ago. And the other one, as far as I can tell, he's still alive.
Oh.
So
does he have a name?
He does have a name, George Mendoza.
Okay.
So
You
how
thought
to get
it
to the
was
bottom of this.
like a setup shot, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
No,
It definitely...
apparently he grabbed her, kissed her, and then he walked away to the subway. Well, that was one of their accounts.
What she did when that happened, though, because if some guy just randomly grabs and kisses me, I might...
Back then, it was a wonderful moment. Now it would be abuse, and you would arrest him, right?
Well, see, you bring up such a good point. But that's exactly what someone on Facebook Live said. They said today that would never happen.
Of course.
Yeah.
Makes it even a better moment and a better photo.
Well, here's to you, Greta Friedman. Lived a long, good life, right?
Yeah.
92
right?
years old.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Coming up, beer run.
Actually, quite appropriate.
Yeah, that's actually the story we're talking about. So
Okay.
some kids in school, they have a couple of jobs, they make money. Other kids, they have to ask their parents for money, or their parents put money in their accounts. So what do you do if you're in college and you need to have your parents send you money? Well, one guy took an approach I have never seen before. I bet you guys haven't either. Right before Saturday's football game between Virginia Tech and the University of Tennessee, one guy, his name is Sam, held up a sign while tailgating. The sign said, "Hi Mom, send beer money." And he included his Venmo account name. Now, in case you guys haven't heard about Venmo, that's the app where you can link your bank account to the app and then message anyone money. So according to Venmo, over 2,000 people paid Sam.
Are you kidding me?
Really?
Oh, I'm serious.
What?
It's unclear if his mom was even one of these people. And according to Business Insider, you want to guess how much money he's gotten?
How much?
$24,000.
What?
Wow. Next week,
That is ridiculous.
next week he's asking for whiskey money.
Okay, so one thing that
ridiculous.
apparently probably helped this guy is ESPN caught a shot of that sign, so it made it on television. I think it's just hilarious because people have never seen something like this. Hey, Venmo me money.
Wait, why would people send this guy money?
Why
People
not?
on Twitter said
What
it
do you
was
mean, why not?
hilarious.
It's ridiculous. Hilarious?
Right. I just like to think
It's
that
creative. It's
look,
smart.
people can do whatever they want with their money, but
No.
you'd like to think if they're doing this, maybe they're sending some money to some really needy people.
Yes.
How about
Right,
that?
right.
Yeah, if you're gonna
hopefully
send money,
Sam will
send it to
donate
someone
some of
who
that.
needs
Okay, so from one drink to another, an Ohio police dog is capturing the web's attention as he devours. Yep, it's called a puppuccino. It's in a Starbucks drive-through lane. Apparently, he finishes the whole cup in 30 seconds. You can hear the Starbucks lady kind of in the background saying, "I thought it'd be too much for you. I guess not." Stephen and Roxy, if you're wondering what a puppuccino is, it's basically one of those items that's not on the official menu. So one of those secret ones that some people know about.
Never.
It's just a cup of cream, Since, I like investigating, I called Starbucks this morning.
And?
It's free.
It's free.
It was healthy.
Now people are
really
going to
sure.
go order one. They're going to
She said he
order
thought it
one.
was.
Yeah, yeah.
Send her some puppuccino money.
I would love a puppuccino.
Coming up,